all talk is just a way of keeping you in the clutches of warmongers who are profiting off of murder. That is the word that he used, all around the world. Only one time has a third party worked in the country. We're going to get into that. It's the formation of the Republican Party, and it was a very unique set of circumstances. But what a third party might, while it might fail to elect a president, it could very well succeed in continuing to sow division and chaos on the right. And I think that's the entire point. There are foreign interests who want exactly that, of course, and Tucker, whether wittingly or unwittingly, is doing their work for them. Last week, Tucker Carlson sat down on his show with a woman who has been publicly accused of working for Russian intelligence. When Tucker brought up the accusation with her, she, of course, denied it. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part...
Okay. Good evening. Wow.
Wrong with interviewing very, very bad people. In fact, interrogating bad people is an important act of journalism. But giving them 2 hours of unopposed airtime, which is what Tucker did, is an act of propaganda. Which brings us to Alexander Dugin. Dugin has been under American sanctions since 2015 for the role that he played in recruiting fighters for one of Russia's wars. And on the last day of 2024, the Treasury Department sanctioned the organization that Dugin founded for running Russia-funded AI.
How y'all doing? So, so let's see what we got. Thank you for subscribing, Yar Sharky. You probably will unsubscribe after the stream because people that subscribe to me tend to unsubscribe to me after the stream. Hello, you legs. How's it going? Okay. So, hello, UW legs. So he was for 14 year joke. So insurrection Barbie tweeted, tweeted about Joe Kent, and insurrection Barbie said he was a registered Democrat for like 14 years. Joe Kent's wife works for the gray zone, which can't decide who's about to crawl up, Iran or Russia, while he voted for Bernie Sanders. So this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. So here.
Hi, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I am excited to let you know I am now on Cameo. So if you have a special message for a friend or a loved one, I would love to deliver it for you, or any other message for anyone. How do you do it, you ask? You just click on the link and follow the instructions.
Okay, you know what? This is nothing. Okay. I don't know what is all these emoji. What are you trying to say, UWS lanes? So outspoken Samantha tweeted 2 hours ago, what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan is deeply disturbing. Look at all those Christians trying to take away women's rights and force their religion down everyone's throats. So
Need to be conditioned. Hey, feminists, have you seen what Christians are trying to do to women in America? They're trying to get them to dress this way, to cover themselves from head to toe, so that only their eyes are showing at most, even though here, that's not even allowed.
So here.
Of course, Christians need to control how women look so that they're not tempting to men, even the little girls. And if nothing else, the little girls need to get used to dressing this way. They need to be conditioned to believe that this is normal. I can't believe that Christians are doing this. They are definitely the biggest threat to women's rights. Not only that, they are organizing clubs in the schools to talk about their religion. They have their Christian prayers blasting over the loudspeaker over the entire city at all times of day. And they use our government buildings to hold their public prayer meetings and talk about how they can force everybody to believe what they do. It's like they have no idea what the separation between church and state means. Look.
Yeah. So Dearborn, Michigans are imposing the Islamic religion down people's throat. They're forcing individual to wear hijab. So that's the point of this clip. Yeah, I've already said hello. UW's Lang. Okay, so Erika, there's an account user that goes by Erika. She tweeted, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not doing birthday cameo. I cannot 7 spot left at the discounted price of $149 for you to hear her sing happy birthday. President Trump remains undefeated. Yeah, Trump remained undefeated in his primary endorsement. But me, I don't really care about primary endorsement. I care about general election endorsement. What I'm looking forward to is if his back candidate are going to beat Democratic candidate this November for the House and the Senate. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'll be looking forward to. And what is true? Okay. Okay, so Mila Joe said, President Trump thanked me on Truth Social. I'm over it. So Mila Joe tweeted, Donald Trump is the GOAT. Okay. I'm not familiar who Mila Joe is. Okay. So Tom Powell Jr. said, when even Fox News, Tom Powell Jr. tweeted, when even Fox News thinks you are nuts. So
that God's timing is perfect.
When even Fox News thinks you're crazy.
Finally, an evangelist influencer started preaching to her fellow passengers during a delay on an Alaska Airlines flight when the crew forced her right on off. But I want to tell you that God's timing is perfect and God knows everything.
And maybe he's sparing us from danger today. Oh my gosh, I didn't know the message of Jesus Christ was unsafe. I'll tell you what this is. It's called spiritual warfare. You know why? Yeah, because demons don't like the name of Jesus.
So I'm gonna chime in on this real quick. I don't mind people expressing their faith or saying a prayer, but when you have to hold your phone and record yourself doing it for social media content, Kaylee, I'm not so sure that it was just to spread the good word and the good gospel. It sounded more like something to get some content on the interweb.
Yeah, my faith is very important to me, as I just mentioned. Literally a pastor's daughter, and the flight attendants wouldn't have had to escort her off that flight because I would have done it myself if I had been on that plane.
I don't know what you mean. Hello, Liba sect.
That's not genuine. That's obnoxious. You're doing it for attention, and you're doing it to annoy other people. And I will rest my case on that.
The influencers have gone wild in the skies, Joey.
Listen, I don't know that woman.
Toni Lauren works for Fox News. Okay.
Since I know the effect of it is probably a net negative, because I think a lot of people would be less likely to show up to church for the first time in 20 years if that's how God spoke to them. I don't know. I'm not one to critique her, but if I'm sitting on that flight, I'm like, that's why I didn't go last.
Well, and then saying to everyone else on the plane who might object to it that they could be demons. I mean, come on. It's way too far.
It's too far. I will say I'll be praying on my flight tonight that it takes off and goes to Nashville. But I'll be doing it quietly and to myself.
When even Fox News knows it's performative bullshit. I love how she said she'd be...
Can you salute me, please? I'm Omar. Okay. I've already said hello, Lee Bazek. I've already said hello. Oh, shoot.
Thinks you're great. But man, if that's the kind of content you're going to make, consider yourself ostracized by a whole bunch of people. You keep doing that shit on airlines and you're going to wind up on a no-fly list. You're not going to be able to get on any of these fucking planes. It preached anyway. You're going to be on Greyhound if they let you on. You know it's bad when the Christians are losing Fox fucking News.
Yeah. I actually don't disagree with Tom Powell Jr. Okay, so you know what? I don't really care. Yeah, Candace Owens. Okay, so Erika tweeted, today Candace walked back a insinuation yesterday of off-duty Utah police officer Alan Robinson being dirty cop and involved in Charlie. You know what? Never mind. I'm just... Forget about Candace Owens. Let's, So... Toni Lauren tweeted 22 hours ago, I'm not saying it's not concerning that these socialists are winning. It is, but in the long run, it's better to know what we're up against, and it may actually motivate Republicans too. I've already said hello, Lee Bazek. How many times do I have to say hello? I've already said hello. You said to say hi, I said hello. What do you need anything? Okay, so let's see what Toni Lauren has to say.
It looks like El Sayed is probably going to walk away with this. Again, very early, but some of the numbers are pretty good for him. And I actually don't think that's a bad thing for Republicans, not just for the Republican candidate in Michigan, but just for Republicans in general. And I'll tell you why. It's because I don't actually think there's that much daylight between the so-called establishment Democrats and these radical DSA or socialist candidates. There's really not a whole lot of daylight if you look at their policy platform.
And then there has been a report that Al Sayed actually won his race to be the nominee for governor. So here.
Yes, the DSA candidates and the folks like El Sayed, they seem more extreme, or are they perhaps just a little bit more honest? I think it's better to know what you're running against, and it's better for voters to know exactly what they're getting than it is for people like the Spanbergers, the Mikey Sherrills, the Joe Biden, for goodness sakes, who run as moderates, as traditional, and in practice, they're anything but. So I think it's better for Republicans, not only for the Republican candidates, but for the party in general, especially looking ahead to 2028, to have some of these candidates so that the country can truly see where the Democrat Party is and see the alternative with the Republican Party. So I think it's better to know who you're going against rather than these snakes in the grass who pretend to be moderate and are truly anything but.
Yeah, the Democrats are, I hate sounding like a broken record, but they need to be moderate. They need to reject the far left. Okay, you know what? Let's see this clip. You know, I was about to ignore Candace Owens' clip, but let's see. So Sassy last tweeted, I have watched this a few times. The disconnect Candace has is really remarkable. Erika has every right to say my Charlie. She was... Okay, so here.
Accept that same, to believe a single word that comes out of Erika Kirk's mouth. She's not fought at all for her husband, my Charlie, except when it comes to providing basic detail.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Please hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to be going over Candace Owens' jealousy, and she is so angry that Erika Kirk said my Charlie. Let's get right on with it, guys.
Basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie.
Terrible days of our life.
Yeah, this is weird. Me, what I find weird is being a married woman and you're obsessed with somebody's husband who unfortunately lost his life via gunshot wounds. That's weird from Candace Owens.
Lives acting truly, like, totally the question set up, prompted, and this is the response. They told her backstage, make sure you keep saying my Charlie, my husband is my Charlie, and you remind them that your babies need one thing: her baby ate healthy. My Charlie ate healthy. So just accept that slop. You know, this is what
You know, whatever.
Charlie would want. My Charlie. You're to be reminded that was her Charlie. My Charlie needs your help. Here's how you can give us your 401k.
I mean, it was her Charlie, so.
And house. This is the book.
Okay, let's see. What else? So Britta tweeted, Candace, Blake is so obviously the type that Charlie and I would have had a nickname for. Why didn't they have one for him then? I thought Candy and Chuck were besties. McBessie till the end.
About Charlie being close to Blake. Blake is just so obviously someone that Charlie and I would have been like, had a nickname for. Because how could you not? Like, we watched Blake here and we're just sort of like, how's it possible that someone could be so fundamentally unlikable and so fundamentally unbelievable in everything that he says and does? Total lack of talent, taking on the show, the Beavis and Butthead show, cosplaying as a Charlie Kirk show. It's just amazing to me. And the only reason he's sitting there is because Tucker Carlson did what he could to help him after he got let go from Fox for being a psycho, generally just being a psycho. And how does he repay Tucker? By targeting him. So it's not hard for us to imagine, Blake, that you may have betrayed Charlie, because look at what you did to Tucker. Look at what you do to Tucker.
Okay. So what else? Okay. The Democratic Socialists of America. We will see in November if they are going to win at least the House of Representatives. Whoa.
I'm fairly bullish on AI. I think there will be consequences to AI, but I think some of those consequences will be quite positive. I think like all new technologies will.
Okay. So Jeremy Boring did his monologue, and he has guests on his show. So you should like some good part of capitalism and some bad part of capitalism. Okay.
Or I'm constantly trying to figure out. Oh, look, my address just got doxxed. Oh, Dominique, over on Facebook, Dominique. I hope you're ready to lose that Facebook page, girl. I hope you're ready to lose that Facebook page, Dominique. Hope you're ready to lose it. Look at the nice Antifa people doxing.
Okay, you know what? Whatever. Caroline Borisenko is not my cup of tea. I mean, she's decent, but I don't really watch her like that. My goodness.
So Senator John Fetterman goes on Jon Stewart's show and basically showcases why so many Americans are disgusted by our current government that is just obviously pro-Israel and Israel only. They get mad.
United Israel States. If the United States, it's not going to happen, but if the United States had managed to merge the IDF with the U.S. military, my name for United States and Israel would be the United Israel States. But it did not happen because the bill was blocked.
Mad at us for being one issue voters, paying attention to one issue, yet these guys are so completely one issue. Here is John Fetterman trying to explain to Jon Stewart, who is Jewish, by the way. Jon Stewart was born Jonathan Stewart Leibovitz. And here's John Fetterman trying to explain.
You know, I watch it by myself when I hand the stream. Okay, so Fox News tweeted, America will never be a socialist country. President Trump rips Democrats for their effort to skip socialism and head right down to the bottom of the barrel with communism. Together, we will defeat communism, socialism, and Marxism in America once and for all. So here's the clip.
Not even for America will never be a socialist country. And I was right. What I didn't say is what they're trying to do now. They want to skip socialism. They want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel. That's communism. They want it to be a communist country. We're not letting them have it as a communist country.
Yeah, the only way I'm certain America will not be a socialist country and a communist country is if the White House, I said that many times, the White House needs to be run like a family business where Ivanka Trump runs, and then she passed the baton to Don Jr., Eric, Barron, and Tiffany. Now, people on my comment section don't think Eric Trump and Eric Trump and Don Jr. have a chance at winning the presidency, but Ivanka Trump, Tiffany Trump, and Barron Trump should be good. They will be good presidential candidates in the future if they decide to run. But it won't. If all three of them serve 2 terms, like Ivanka, Tiffany, and Barron, so let's do the math. Let's do the math calculator. Or maybe, yeah, calculator. You know what, I can do the math. So if I do the math, so 8 plus 8 plus 8. So 24 years. So the Republican Party will only be in power for 24 years. But whatever, it's whatever.
Not even for a minute. Not even for a minute. Together we will defeat communism, socialism, and Marxism in America once and for all. It's defeated. It's going to go down. It always goes down, but sometimes it takes a lot of people.
So that was Trump's speech.
Never be a social.
I don't know what event it was, so. So, Erika tweeted 9 hours ago, Tucker and Co. with their new party has kicked JD Vance to the curb. Tucker and Hunter Biden 2028. This is going to fail harder than Elon party. That'll be funny.
What happens to JD Vance in this equation?
I mean, look, I like JD. He's in a tough spot. I mean, his name's on the ticket, and he has had to go along with a lot of what's taken place in this administration. And look, at the end of the day, he is going to have to answer to a lot of those same donors because he was on the ticket. And so unless he changes things drastically, which I don't even know if he has the power to do at this point, he's still going to be at the mercy of a lot of the people that are still pulling the strings within the Republican Party. And I think this is just some of the trap of the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, because if you lock us into this two-party system, you basically have to pick your side, and then you have to go down with the ship. And that's the position that JD's in right now, because President Trump put the ship on the heading, towards the iceberg, for lack of a better metaphor. So look, I personally like JD. I think he, by and large, has tried to do the right thing in this, but again, he's had to.
Honestly, me, I just want a woman president. That's what I want. United States make history again. They made history in 2008. They can make history in 2028 by having a woman in the White House. Tulsi Gabbard, for example. I would not want Ivanka Trump because I will suffer from Trump fatigue syndrome, not Trump derangement syndrome. Because having Trump because we're having Trump until January 2029 and having another Trump, I will suffer from Trump fatigue syndrome. My goodness. Okay, nothing has been graded yet, so whatever. So Megyn Kelly tweeted 4 hours ago, I believe Tucker so disgusted with the Neocan and what happened within the Republican Party. Megyn Kelly and Mark Halperin on Tucker Carlson teaming up with Joe Kent, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Massey and teasing a new political party and his potential run.
And said the following. I do want to ask you about what's happening on Team Red, because it was one of those things that everybody was like, what's that? On the internet, MTG put out a picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Joe Kent, Tucker, and who's the other one? Oh, Thomas Massey, meeting at Tucker's home. And clearly they were discussing what to do about Republican politics and whether there should be a new party. And we know that now because Joe Kent went on Piers Morgan, among other places like the Young Turks, and said the following, SOT 21.
Things are in the initial phases right now, but there is a growing consensus on, I think, both the right and the left of people who are sick and tired of the Republican Party. They're sick and tired of the Democrat Party. They want us out of these foolish wars that we're just sitting here talking about right now. Most Americans have no idea what we're talking about. They don't know about Gaza. They don't know about the Straits of Hormuz. They just know that billions of their taxpayer dollars, their blood, their treasure, their sons and their daughters continue to get sent overseas. Our best and brightest get killed. Our taxpayer dollars get spent over there while things continue to decay here in America. And so what we're trying to do is just build a coalition of people who say we're finally going to put first. We're not going to focus on the next foreign war. We're not going to listen to foreign lobbies like the Israelis. We're going to focus on the issues that matter here to the American people.
Just to be clear, though, before we close things, could this involve establishing a new party?
Look, it certainly could. I mean, if you talk to most Americans out there, they're sick of the Republican Party, they're sick of the Democrat Party. They do want something that actually represents their interests.
It absolutely could involve a new party. A party called America First is reportedly the consideration. And he also said that they all urged Tucker to run as the candidate. And on top of that, when asked by Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, what would this mean for JD Vance? He basically said, we like him, but he's too tainted. He supported the Iran war and no. So I'm very interested in what you...
So this is just a clip from X. I don't watch Megyn Kelly's show. This is just a clip from X. So
think this would mean? Like, what would it mean for the Republican Party?
Well, Tucker's as likely to run for president as I am to move to India and start my cricket career. I just don't think it's going to happen. Just
disagree.
Just don't think he might do it as a lark, but as a credible campaign, no. I don't believe it. I don't believe the support's there for it.
I got to tell you, I disagree. I haven't talked to him directly about it, I believe Tucker's so disgusted and the neocons, what's happened within the Republican Party, that for the first time he actually would consider it.
I just don't see a practical base of support. There's tens of millions of people who like that point of view of that group, but it's not enough to overcome the obstacles to a path to a presidency. either within the Republican Party or starting a third party. I've spent a lot of time on this, and starting a third party is nearly impossible in our system. It takes a lot.
I mean, RFK Jr. did start a third party. I mean, he did the independent party. The reason why RFK Jr. Dropped out of the race is because when they pushed Biden to drop out of the race, there was no clear path for victory, which is why he ended up siding with Trump. And then he played a role on helping Trump winning the election. What I will also say is RFK Jr. only needed 34% of the independent votes. Looking back at it, I wish the Democrat did not force Biden out, because I really wanted to know what would have happened had Biden stayed, because RFK Jr. would not have joined Trump. Would RFK Jr. have ended in the White House via a contingent election? We will never know.
A lot of stuff that group doesn't have sitting around Tucker's house, chatting in flannel.
Well, should point out that he's making an announcement about it live on his YouTube feed tonight at 6 p.m. So we'll learn more. But what would it do?
Yeah, I don't really watch Tucker show. I mean, let's see. Did he make an announcement? Okay, change is coming. Okay, let's see. That's like an hour and 38 minutes.
Your future, your education.
The point of any system is to protect the interests of the people it serves and governs. It's just the nature of it. So what's a preacher's job? It's to minister to the souls of his congregants. What's a president's job? It's to look out to protect the interests of his citizens. Really, really simple. It's inherent to the definition. So it's been obvious for a while now that our system is not working as intended, because the people in charge of it seem to be looking out mostly, not exclusively, but mostly for their own interests. And you see that all around you. Government workers make more than the average American. That kind of says it as clearly as anything, but you see it up and down every institution in American life. A lot of them seem to be run primarily for the benefit of the people who run them, and that is bad. And they're less hidden about it than they've ever been. I mean, they're off buying private islands and exempting themselves from the rules that apply to you, and that has caused enormous frustration and resentment from ordinary people. It's like, wait a second, you're not following your own rules. I have to stay home during COVID, and you're going to the French Laundry. Because what are you indebted that they can't make free decisions? How is that not totalitarian control? Well, of course it is. It has done for the last time for an end to war, except maybe in engineering.
You know what? Whatever. I'm gonna see if I can find clip on X. His video is like an hour and 38 minutes long. So there's no clip on X about his announcement.
Grammar matters more than people realize.
Words of wisdom for today.
Learn how to say words backwards.
I don't know if they were words of wisdom for today.
Power shows the man. You want to find out a lot about somebody, give him a bunch of power. Power shows the man.
Swipe up. Hit subscribe.
To the Charlie Kirk Show, we will be diving deep into Aristotle. We were just at Hillsdale, good school, great school. The only college, the last college.
Your words of wisdom for today.
Wise man loves to be corrected. Anyone that wants to replace error with truth.
So this is just an old clip of Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk. So, word of wisdom.
What are your words of wisdom for today?
You know what? Whatever.
Okay, great. Wait, were you even listening? You didn't say a single note this entire meeting.
You recounted a story where your dog,
Intelligent, legitimate conversations which do not include such extreme positions that it turns.
The far left. I will end the stream in a couple minutes.
the presidency.
So Brianna Joy Gray said, Piers Morgan cut my mic and erased me from the thumbnail to bury this argument. I don't know why Piers Morgan will do that. His show is called Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Okay, Brianna Joy Gray, you like these positions. You want to get rid of borders, the Senate, the presidency, the Supreme Court, ICE, prisons, give amnesty to illegal immigrants. You're exactly the kind of whack job that many people are saying are the problem in the party. Not my words, their words. Why would you support the kind of policies which instinctively most Americans, when they hear them, think whoever thinks that is a whack job?
I mean, you can say Americans instinctively feel whatever you say they feel, Piers, but the reality is that polling suggests quite the opposite. The Democratic Socialists of America are polling better than both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So I think the question that needs to be asked is of traditional establishment corporate Republicans and Dems, why their party is so tarnished, why their brand is so bad, that ideas that do seem relatively novel to the average American ear sound a lot more palatable than two parties who say, fund ICE, who's literally murdering American mothers and nurses in the street. Let's have a foreign policy that intentionally creates pressure on the borders. Let's ignore the domestic concerns of Americans who have been struggling for decades with health concerns, with health care, with being able to provide basic needs like education and housing. I think Americans are increasingly aware that this is a sort of three-card Monty, where they're asked repeatedly to look over there at the scary thing when you have a government in office currently that ran on and is actively trying to dismantle the Department of Education, dismantle our response to disease. We're in the middle of what is being called a poop pandemic because nobody can even buy bagged veggies anymore in the United States of America. And when people like Zohar Mamdani or Oliver Larkin, who's here on the panel with us, offer straightforward common sense solutions, or even old-time ideas like getting rid of the Senate, which is wildly unrepresentative. Does it make common sense to the average American that a state like Vermont should have the exact same representation as a state like California, the world's fifth biggest economy with 30 million people? No, absolutely not. So I think when you get out of the clickbait Fox News segments with Megan Romer, who I also just recently had on my own show, Bad Faith, by the way, and had an opportunity to have a more fulsome discussion, as Americans hear more about these ideas, they're only going to become more popular.
Okay. So that's Brianna Joy Gray. So the Democratic Socialists of America are polling better than the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So the question that needs to be asked of typical establishment corporate Republicans and them is why the party is so tarnished and the brand is so bad. That idea that do seem relatively novel to the average American here sound a lot more palatable than the two-party that say let's fund heist, who are literally murdering American mothers and nurses in the streets. I mean, the two incidents where heist agent murder an American mother, the one incident that I'm aware of was Renee Good. And I have not really been keeping up with ICE. Only that one incident, Renee Good. Okay. Oh my goodness. You gotta fight. You know what, never mind. I'll retract what I have to say.
The Iran nuclear program. Nothing to do with the Iran nuclear program, which you told us you eliminated.
Yes. Okay, so Candace Owens is calling Frank Turing for her to be killed. That's what Cinema Shogun tweeted. Okay, whatever. Okay, Acyn tweeted Acyn tweeted 22 hours ago when James Carville said he doesn't want to be in the same political party as Hassan Piker. Which one are you going to take? Sander, if Mr. Carville doesn't want to be in my party, he can start his own party. Okay. Or maybe you can join Tucker's party, the America First party. Okay, let's see what Bernie Sanders has to say.
So when someone like James Carville says he doesn't want to be in the same political party as Hassan Piker, which one are you going to take?
Well, that's not much of a choice. If Mr. Carville doesn't want to be in my party, the party that I belong to, that Piker, that Sayed belongs to, he can start his own party. Look, what we are doing now is, you can turn the tables around and say, do you really want to be in a party where your leadership is taking huge amounts of money from AIPAC, which is supporting an extremist Netanyahu government that many of us believe have committed genocide? Do you want to be in a party with people who do that? Do you want to be in a party which has not stood up to the AI industry because they got a lot of money from AI or from crypto? So you could pick, you can pick whatever you want to pick. But I think we need a big tent, and I think people like Piker should be welcome into that, certainly.
Okay. Hassan Piker. I don't really watch Hassan Piker. My understanding of socialism is you want the government to control businesses, production, factory, and capitalism is you want individual private business owners to control their own factory, their own business. That's my simple understanding of capitalism and socialism. Okay, so I'm just going to do one last. So Natalie Jean Beisner said it's not even worth my time. Proceed to give it her time. Okay, so
Would not be, you know, just block. It's not even worth my time. Like, it's just the most obvious operation.
yeah, so Natalie Jean Beisner said, tweeted an hours ago, like that's like a clip of Candace Owens' show.
In the world, nice to see it. Nice to go through these, and you should go through these 92 absolute losers who are losing despite doing this. I don't coordinate. I'm not on any group chats with 92 operatives, 10 operatives, 6 operatives, 2 operatives. I don't do this. I work with my team. I look for information. I may, you know, reach out. Obviously.
You know what? Never mind. Not worth it. So Laura Ingraham interviewed JD Vance. So Ingraham said people can't afford a home. They're concerned about the cost of living. $100 to fill my tank today. What does the administration need to do on that front? There's a real strain out there. Vance said, I think what it shows is that the past 40 years of bipartisan economic policy has failed. I don't know what Vance means by that. Let's see.
Debts who don't have the same, think who were sold a bill of goods by universities, have a lot of debt, but not a good job. But think who were sold a bill of goods by universities, have a lot of debt, but not a good job to show for it.
But they say they can't afford a home. The average home ownership is up to like 42 years of age. 10, 15 years ago, it was much lower. There's concern about the cost of living, still high energy prices, $100 to fill my tank today. What does the Republican Party, specifically the administration, need to do better on that front? Because there are real strains out there.
Well, I think that what it shows is that the past 40 years of economic policy, bipartisan economic policy, have failed. I think a lot of people look at El Sayed or a lot of these other radical candidates and they say socialism is evil. They're right, socialism is evil, but we have to ask ourselves the question, why is socialism so appealing to a lot of people who, to your point, have lower assets, who don't have the same ownership, who went to universities and were sold a bill of goods? They got a lot of debt, but they didn't necessarily get the good jobs that came along with that high debt load. And I think our answer to that, and by the way, you've already seen a lot of it in the Trump administration, is number one, protect American manufacturing. The manufacturing economy is the foundation of the middle class. We see this in Europe, we saw it in the United States. Every country that sells its industrial base to the highest foreign bidder loses its middle class and sees socialism come on the back end. What I think is actually going to happen is these socialist candidates, they've caught the tail end of an economy that wasn't working for most Americans. Unfortunately for them, the Trump economy has made long-term investments in rebuilding that manufacturing base and making America energy independent and actually making it possible to own a home, to have a family, to build the real elements of middle-class life.
The manufacturing.
Okay. So that was Ingraham. That was a clip of Ingraham interviewing JD Vance. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to end the stream.